Canadians, Americans, members of the Commonwealth, and patriots the world over. Welcome to the show that tells you what they won't, exposing the fake news, conspiracies, and corruption within institutions that govern our lives, and red-pilling the nations one fact at a time. It's Weathering the Storm with your host, Canada's Red Pill, Billy Joyce. Good evening, folks, and welcome to another show. Tonight I'd like to cover a few topics. Towards the end of the show, I'm going to cover all the North Korean news and the Spygate news. But before I get to that, I'd like to start with something that's more related to Canadians. And it's just some recent experiences I've had with different ministers and different government departments. Without naming names and without necessarily outing anyone or getting a big target on my back, I will say that my experience with government agencies, either at the provincial or the federal level, both as a project coordinator, as an economic development officer, and as a person who runs a radio station, and does interviews with these cowards on a regular basis, what I've noticed is that whenever you have someone who's a minister or a secretary of this or a minister of that or secretary of whatever other thing, they usually have this entourage of people. Recently I did an interview with a minister in Nova Scotia, and I didn't speak to her to prep her. I spoke to her assistant. Now, just to put things into perspective, her assistant probably makes somewhere in the vicinity of $60,000 to $80,000 a year. She probably makes in the vicinity of $100,000 to $130,000, maybe $140,000 a year. And it took two of them to come up with what questions I was and which questions I wasn't allowed to ask her during an interview. Now, one thing we have in Canada when it comes to government is you'll often hear, and the reason I know this is because I saw how it works, they like to talk about this thing called positive messaging. Positive messaging. Positive messaging. You see, and what they do is they will literally blacklist any single media outlet where someone who's interviewing them asks them tough questions or puts them on the spot. You'll never get an interview with them again. Chances are. Now, that's what separates Canadians from Americans, Canadian media from American media. Because even the snowflake left-wing media in the States will hold to account once in a while their government and hold their government to some serious questions during interviews or whatever else. They're unscripted a lot of times. And one thing that bothers me is to what point you're forced to script the interview so that all the people hear is what they call the positive messaging. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's a personal experience that I have. So whenever you're hearing politicians being interviewed by radio stations and you're saying to yourself, why isn't he asking tougher questions? Why isn't he asking tougher questions? Well, it's because if he does, chances are you'll never get an interview again. And it sucks, but that's how it is. And the only people that can change it are you and I and everyone else watching this video and everyone that you share it with. So if you like what you're watching, push a little like, push a little share, push a little subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Just don't insult anyone. If you're going to insult me, at least insult me with facts. Insult me with good information. Now, while we're on the topic of the Canadian media, some great news for you. My channel yesterday was actually, I'll say, semi-monetized. It appears that YouTube is vetting my videos, and some videos are monetized, some others aren't. And I have no idea of knowing which ones will be and which ones won't. However, what I do know is one video that I have that has 60,000 views on it, that one there is not monetized. And apparently I can't even appeal it. And apparently the reason that video is demonetized and can't be monetized is because there's a copyright strike on it. And guess who the copyright strike is from? The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And apparently they can make money on my full-length video, but I can't. Because I used a clip from a video that was produced by the state-funded media that I pay for. How does that work? The CBC is funded by the taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. So technically, I fund the CBC. But I can't use a CBC video in a YouTube video, or I get demonetized and they make money off my work. Even though they already have a $1.5 billion budget, or a $1.2 billion budget, or a $1 billion, whatever the hell it is, it's a hell of a lot bigger than my budget. So how does that work, Canada? Michelle Rempel, I'm going to send this to you on Twitter. Are you going to answer? Are you even going to bother watching this video? Or Andrew Scheer, or Maxime Bernier, or all these people that claim they want change, when in reality, all they want is the power, so they can get in and screw us over the same way that these guys are. But I digress. So that's some Canadian stuff I wanted to get off my back, and then we're going to get into some stuff that affects not only Canadians, it affects especially Americans, but it affects the entire world. And that's this whole North Korea debacle. North Korea, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Yesterday, the mainstream media was in a tizzy because, of course, everything was called off. President Trump called off the North Korea summit. Well, let's go through kind of how I came to find out that this stuff was happening. I got home, and sure enough, there were the CNN snowflakes on television bragging that, oh, Trump failed, Trump can't negotiate, Trump sucks, they pulled out of North Korea, oh my, Trump is terrible, it's not the art of the deal, it's the art of deal breaking, it's not the... I was pretty nauseated. Let's take a look at some of the headlines that we saw yesterday and today on the whole North Korea thing. CBC in Canada was reporting Trump had to face the music that U.S.-North Korea worlds apart on nuclear deal. So basically CBC is pushing what one left-leaning pundit had to say when he was saying that Trump has to face the music, realizing that the U.S. and North Korea are worlds apart on the nuclear deal. And then, of course, CBC, in their true Trump-hating, fear-mongering kind of way, they had to say Trump's withdrawal from North Korea summit weakens optimism in South. If you're wondering what I'm doing, my dog is here. Hi, buddy. Hi, Rusty. Hi, boy. Are you going to come say hi? Or are you going to say hi to everyone? Oh, you're going to be in another video. There's the boy. And for those of you wondering, when I say the boy, it's because he's a male, and I'm calling him boy. But his name is Rusty. Are you going to turn around and say hi? Or you just want to give me kisses? Look, turn around and say hi, buddy. Look, say hi. Say hi. Hi, everyone. Okay, you'll stay there all day, I know. So the mainstream media is reporting on that. That's how the mainstream media is reporting that yesterday and today. And then, of course, CNN, Trump's canceled North Korea summit. Art of the deal or no deal? After President Trump canceled a historic U.S.-North Korea summit set for June 12th, the administration said it would resume its maximum pressure campaign, signal new sanctions are likely, and expressed hope another meeting can be scheduled. But the chances of quickly rescheduled summit going ahead seem slim, analysts said, pointing to a range of factors from the looming U.S. midterm elections to the threats that Trump doled out alongside invitations to another meeting with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Trump's move could be a classic art-of-the-deal maneuver meant to help him gain leverage over Kim, but Pyongyang watchers said axing the summit might end up hurting the U.S. more than it helps. Anyway, I got all those articles in the description. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how the mainstream news was reporting this. I mean, after all, if they were lambasting Trump as, art of the deal or no deal, or, the deal maker or the deal breaker, if they're doing that, Trump must have really been involved. Like, Trump must have really been a catalyst in all this going south, right? Mike Pence. Mike Pence and some bozo in North Korea, whose name is not Kim Jong-un. So basically, a bozo in the U.S. and a bozo in North Korea who have no business really saying the stuff that they were saying. And we'll get to why later, but what really happened, Haaretz or Haaretz, or however you pronounce this, their headline is Political Dummy in Libya Model. the Mike Pence North Korea exchange that killed the summit. See, now CNN is saying Trump can't make a deal. But these guys, who's not mainstream, who apparently look into the truth, they're saying that this is what really killed the summit. When asked to clarify if he was threatening Kim as the Libya model ended with regime change and death for Muammar Gaddafi, Pence added that is not a threat so much as a fact. Well, if you're trying to sit down with a country to get them to denuclearize and get them to be nice and get them to shake hands and, leave the world alone, leave the world at peace, or at least attempt to leave the world at peace, if that's your goal, I don't think it's a good idea to be telling the people you want to sit with that they're going to end up like Libya, especially when Hillary Clinton, remember Hillary Clinton? We came, we saw, we killed, something like that. She said that about Muammar Gaddafi when they killed him. So, if North Korea flipped out after Pence, sorry, I'm so sorry, President Trump, that I said Trump. So after Pence says something like that, it's no frickin' wonder the guy from North Korea freaked out. It says, Trump was referring to a statement released yesterday in the name of North Korean Vice Foreign Minister Cho Sun-hui. That letter, arguably the real breakup letter in North Korean-U.S. relations, takes umbrage at Vice President Mike Pence's suggestion that North Korea could end up like Libya, and describes Pence as a dummy. More concerning, it explicitly threatens a military attack, warning, we can also make the U.S. taste an appalling tragedy it has neither experienced nor imagined up to now. And those are some big words. Those are really some big words. But again, it's not Kim Jong-un that said this. It's Cho Sun-hui, who was responding to the Vice President, Mike Pence. Now, I got the whole article there, so you can go see to what degree these two went at each other and what kind of threats Pence was sending and what kind of threats this other nobody in North Korea was sending. You can go see that whole exchange and what really happened and what caused President Trump to eventually send the letter that he sent yesterday. Now, we're going to get to that letter. But if you're wondering why the Vice President of the United States would do something that stupid, because yesterday, I'll be honest, yesterday we went into the, when we saw this news breaking, we were in the Able Danger Discord chat room. And of course, it was disconcerting. It was a bit nerve-wracking. It was a bit, kind of makes you uncomfortable. Kind of makes you go, But then you read the letter, and I'll get to the letter. But anyway, we all read the letter. We read it 2 or 3 times. I read it 2 or 3 times, and the hunch I was getting was that Pence really tried to sabotage this. And the letter Trump wrote was addressed directly to Kim Jong-un, not to the bozo that made the threats. It was addressed directly to Kim Jong-un, but addressing what the bozo said. And I'll get to it later. But as far as Pence goes, I've been hearing a lot over the past few months. Some of the anons on 8chan, on the Q posts, people inside of Able Danger, and now today I found write-ups with extensive alleged evidence. I mean, these are articles, videos, statistics, all kinds of coincidences that point to the idea that Mike Pence may be involved in pedophilia, in the whole pedogate. And he could even be involved in satanic occult rituals. Because apparently, when he was governor of Indiana, Indiana was, and apparently still is, a hotbed for this type of activity, which includes occult satanic rituals and pedophilia. So I found an article by the Galactic Connection. Now, I'll be honest, I've never heard of the Galactic Connection. I looked through some of their stuff. Some of the stuff that they've reported on, I can verify. Some in the mainstream media, some of the stuff that they report on, I can't verify in the mainstream media. So I saw this article that was titled QAnon, Pedogate, Vice President Mike Pence outed as child rapist, child killer, human trafficker, January 7th, 2018. I invite you to go read that and draw your own conclusions. Then I came to another article, but this was a Steemit article by a user named Dakini5D. Now, the way Steemit works is you use a username, and most Steemit accounts are just regular people like you and I. And I mean, I know I have some broadcast experience, but in other words, we're not people that are on TV making millions of dollars to push an agenda or to push propaganda. We're just regular folk digging into information. And this Dakini 5D, well, she's got an article titled Breaking, Mike Pence exposed in Indiana pedogate, Trump takedown is real, storm, fireworks, white rabbit. Now, pretty much all the Discord groups that I travel in, that I participate in, they all seem to concur that Mike Pence is not what he seems. So, theoretically, if Mike Pence was actually involved in pedogate, satanic cult worship in Indiana, when you consider that President Trump may very well be what they call keep your enemies close, or keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. That could be a case of that. You got to remember too that Mike Pence became vice president due to pressure from the Rhino Republicans. So if Mike Pence right now was concerned about President Trump taking down the deep state and exposing all kinds of corruption, pedophilia, child trafficking, etc., 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 one would assume that if Mike Pence is involved in that and he knows what's coming, he's going to do his damnedest to sabotage things. And then when you consider that in past videos and past articles that I've shared with you, that basically we've come to know that North Korea was a CIA kind of operation, a CIA mind-controlled MKUltra CIA control state, like a farm for human beings. Not where human beings grow crops, where human beings are grown, like farms. And what I'm wondering is if this guy who's inside the government, this guy that came out and threatened the U.S. after Mike Pence threatened North Korea, sometimes I wonder if he might not be one of those deep state agents. I wonder if he might not be in on it. And what makes me wonder that is when you actually go look at President Trump's letter. I posted a link to that, but I'm going to share it with you right now. It's addressed to His Excellency Kim Jong-un, Chairman of the State Affairs Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Pyongyang. Dear Mr. Chairman, we greatly appreciate your time, patience, and effort with respect to our recent negotiations and discussions relative to a summit long sought by both parties, which was scheduled to take place on June 12th in Singapore. We were informed that the meeting was requested by North Korea, but that to us is totally irrelevant. I was very much looking forward to being there with you. Sadly, based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, again, it's not Kim Jong-un's statement, but his assistant minister, or whatever the hell he was, sadly based on the tremendous anger and open hostility displayed in your most recent statement, I feel it is inappropriate at this time to have this long-planned meeting. Therefore, please let this letter serve to represent that the Singapore summit for the good of both parties, but to the detriment of the world, will not take place. You talk about your nuclear capabilities, but ours are so massive and powerful that I pray to God they will never have to be used. Hardball, hey? Boom! Hardball. Boom! Hardball. That's what he's been playing all along. So this was yesterday, that this letter. When I walked into my house after doing my morning shift at the radio station, this is what was on TV, this letter. And I was listening to them read it out. The letter continues. I felt a wonderful dialogue was building up between you and me. See, Hardball? Let's put out a hook there. Let's reel him in. A little jig. A little jig. I felt a wonderful dialogue was building up between you and me, and ultimately it is only that dialogue that matters. Right. Not dialogue between Vice President Pence and the other bozo. The only dialogue that matters is the dialogue between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Someday, I look very much forward to meeting you. In the meantime, I want to thank you for the release of the hostages who are now home with their families. That was a beautiful gesture and very much appreciated. If you change your mind having to do with this most important summit, please do not hesitate to call me or write. The world, and North Korea in particular, has lost a great opportunity for lasting peace and great prosperity and wealth. This missed opportunity is truly a sad moment in history. So yesterday, the whole hoopla, and Trump doesn't know what he's doing, and it's the heart of the deal, or heart of the deal breaker, it was just nonstop. So anyway, everyone went to bed last night thinking that Trump, if you listen to the mainstream media, Trump failed. Now, what we were thinking was Mike Pence probably got into a whole lot of trouble. That's what we're thinking. We're thinking that Mike Pence and this other guy, whoever the hell he was, I'm guessing he's probably in trouble too. I'm guessing Kim Jong-un might not be happy with him. Because when I woke up this morning, of course, nothing had happened. It was just 5:30 in the morning. So I went off to work, came back home, I don't know, around 10:30, 11 o'clock. What do I come home to? Well, I come home to Donald Trump tweeting, President Trump tweeting, very good news to receive the warm and productive statement from North Korea. We will soon see where it will lead, hopefully to long and enduring prosperity and peace. Only time and talent will tell. Democrats are so obviously rooting against us in our negotiations with North Korea, just like they are coming to the defense of MS-13 thugs, saying they are individuals and must be nurtured, or asking to end your big tax cuts and raise your taxes instead. Dems have lost touch. And he's right, because this morning, after President Trump tweeted those, Donald Trump Jr. says, the art of the deal, baby, because he posted an article by Axios saying North Korea ready to meet at any time following Trump's summit scrap. So, who's the master? Who's the master of the art of the deal? The mainstream media lost their crap yesterday. The mainstream media insulted President Trump yesterday for hours and hours and hours, over and over and over. Rinse, repeat, recycle, the whole lineup at CNN from the morning, Chris Cuomo and Allison Camerata or Camerado or Comoroto or Cormorant or whatever the hell her last name is, right on through to late last night, and the Don Lemons and Wolf Blitzer, and oh my God, it was the end of the world. Trump sucks, he doesn't know what he's doing. But today, they all had to eat their words. All of them. Because it might not be back on officially, but it's certainly not the start of a nuclear war. It's certainly not the start of World War III. But hey, please, let people know about this channel, or let everywhere, especially in Canada, because in Canada we're in trouble. In Canada, everyone believes what CNN tells us. Because in most places in Canada, most of the cable carriers only carry CNN. They don't carry Fox News and those things. I know you can watch it on YouTube and stuff. But anyone who watches Canadian news, CTV, Global, CBC, I mean, you're getting the same crap that's coming out of CNN and CBS and NBC and those clowns. So another hot topic in the news is the whole Spygate. Now remember, President Trump, way back when President Trump said that the Obama Justice Department or someone in the Obama administration was spying on him. I know he used the term wiretapped. The man is 72. So when the whole notion of someone spying on him, through surveillance methods, way back when, that's what it was called, wiretapped. So when he said wiretapped, I didn't necessarily think that someone had gone into Trump Tower and, literally tapped wires. They were spying on him. And of course, back then, the media was saying the same thing they're saying now when Donald Trump says that they literally had physical spies inside the campaign. Okay, this whole Spygate thing. Now, the Democrats have been flipping out for 3 days because since this news came out and since these accusations came out, well, there are certain House Republicans that got a chance to sit with Department of Justice and FBI informants to find out what exactly went on there as far as someone being inside the Trump campaign, paid by the FBI to spy on the Trump campaign before the Russiagate investigation ever started. And of course, the Democrats have been pissed the last few days. I wonder why. Because chances are, Chuck the Schmuck Schumer or Bug Eyes, Adam Schiff, if they'd have been in there, well, the meeting wouldn't have been over 2 minutes. It would have been leaked to the press. Whatever would have been it, leaked to the press. So anyway, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That the Democrats have been losing their shit for 3 days because they're not invited. They weren't invited to this meeting that was taking place. I think it was today that the meeting was taking place. Yesterday, last night, Jake Tapper and the Huffington Post. These are some of the headlines that are running. Jake Tapper shreds Donald Trump with a long list of his conspiracy theories. Oh, really, Jake the Snake Tapper? Really? The only one that offers conspiracy theories are the CNN Mockingbird MK Ultra puppets who've been preaching this Russia collusion. How do you feel, Jake Tapper, since Jared Kushner got his security clearance back? Do you think that's an indication that the meeting with that Russian lawyer is a nothing burger? You know, that one meeting that you and all the other Trump haters out there were relying on to be the red flag, the smoking gun, proof of collusion. Do you think Robert Mueller, if there was proof of collusion and Jared Kushner was at that meeting, do you think he would have got his security clearance back? Do people even think? Do people at CNN is the prerequisite, or like, is it necessary to have undergone like some sort of brain removal before you get a job at CNN? Do people even think, or do you just read the 4 a.m. talking points that are sent to you? Yahoo's reporting. Don Lemon blasts Trump for lying about FBI informant. We are in an extreme crisis. The only crisis there is, Don Lemon, is the fact that people still have to turn on the television at night and see your mug on television. That's the only crisis there is. Because you people are out there saying seditious things night after night after night after night. It seems like sedition. Maybe it's not sedition. If it's not sedition, at the very least, it's defamation of character. You have zero integrity. None. Zero journalistic integrity. You guys are nothing but left-wing propaganda pushers who speak with emotion. You guys all literally, you cried the night Donald Trump was elected. Get over it. President Trump's the president. He's committed no crime. And he's probably right. There were probably spies. Oh, wait, that's right. James Comey, the man who called an investigation a matter, the man who conveniently accepted extremely careless rather than grossly negligent, because grossly negligent's a crime, extremely careless not so much. Okay, so James Comey's response to President Trump, accusing the FBI of putting 2 spies in there illegally into his Trump campaign. James Comey, did that guy take a bullet to the head during his service? Like, was there some point where that guy was in a coma and he never snapped out of it? Let's take a look at James Comey's Twitter. Dangerous time when our country is led by those who lie about anything, backed by those who will believe anything, based on information from media sources that will say anything. Americans must break out of that bubble and seek truth. That's what they're doing, James. That's what they're doing. And because they're doing it, pieces of crap like you are going to end up behind bars. You're going to turn old and gray in prison. Hopefully Guantanamo Bay. That's what I'm hoping for. But he wasn't finished there. Comey had to continue. Facts matter. Facts matter. Listen to this one. The FBI's use of confidential human sources, parenthesis, the actual term, is tightly regulated and essential to protecting the country. Attacks on the FBI and lying about its work will do lasting damage to our country. How will Republicans explain this to their grandchildren? Republicans are going to explain this to their grandchildren, James Comey, by explaining that yes, facts matter, and the FBI's use of confidential human sources is basically like saying the FBI's use of spies. Because when you go look up the definition of a spy is someone who's providing confidential information because he's a confidential human source. Are you dumb? Are you really that stupid, Comey? How could you have been director of the... I suppose. You weren't really director of the FBI. You were Barack Obama's puppet. I forgot. And, of course, he thanked the police. It's Police Week. But Comey admits it. Now, if they were using confidential human sources to protect Trump somehow, some way, against some nefarious activities within his camp, they're trying to make it seem... This is the same FBI whose agents were sending each other texts saying F Trump and F this and F that about Trump, and we need to do something. We need an insurance policy. But Barack Obama wants to know everything that's going on. This FBI, the FBI that used a FISA that applied for a FISA warrant using information that came from a British spy. And an article written by Yahoo that was based on the information from that. You never told the judge. You never told the judge that the DNC paid for it. But yet here you are saying that it's a dangerous time when our country is led by those who will lie about anything. You mean like you? Backed by those who will believe anything? You mean like all the Democratic supporters? Based on information from media sources that will say anything? You mean like CNN, CBS, NBC, Morning Joe, all of them that said Hillary Clinton, 99% chance of winning the election. 95% certain, 95% certain Hillary Clinton wins the election. But then, the night of the election, who should we have believed? I know what I predicted the morning of the election. Donald Trump with over 300 electoral votes. And I'm not paid $2 million to do it either. Comey, you're a dummy. And of course, the day wouldn't have been complete without Chris Cuomo and Allison Alison Comatose, I don't know. Did you ever watch her in the morning? She looks like she's out of it. But whatever. CNN needs their their puppets. They need their talkers, the ones that are going to read the 4 a.m. talking points. At least I guess no, I'm not going to go there. No. So of course today, President Trump. Everyone knows there was a spy, and in fact, the people who were involved in the spying are admitting that there was a spy. It's true. Widespread spying involving multiple people. Molly Hemingway, the Federalist senior editor, but the corrupt mainstream media hates this monster story. Then Trump continues, can anyone even imagine having spies placed in a competing campaign by the people and party in absolute power for the sole purpose of political advantage and gain? And to think that the party in question, even with the expenditure of far more money, lost. They never thought she was going to lose. So they thought they were going to get away with all this crap. Oh, President Trump continues. The Democrats are now alluding to the concept that having an informant placed in an opposing party's campaign is different than having a spy. As illegal as that may be, but what about an informant who is paid a fortune and who sets up way earlier than the Russian hoax? Not surprisingly, the great men and women of the FBI are starting to speak out against Comey, McCabe, and all of the political corruption and poor leadership found within the top ranks of the FBI. Comey was a terrible and corrupt leader who inflicted great pain on the FBI. Spygate. So for 3 days, the Democrats complained they weren't invited. The DOJ, the FBI, had a meeting today, or yesterday, I forget, with Republican congressmen, and it was a classified meeting. Nobody actually inside the meeting has revealed anything other than Mitch McConnell, who only said, "I wasn't surprised by anything in that meeting." But somehow, while I was producing this video, I was watching live on TV as Wolf Blitzer, John King, Poppy Harlow, Kate Baldwin, and the rest of the CNN circus clowns drew the conclusion that there were no spies inside the Trump campaign, because if there was something in that meeting that would have indicated spies, you can be sure that Devin Nunes would be out here bragging about it. That was their reasoning. And because Adam Schiff, who wasn't even in the meeting, says, "Oh no, there's nothing there." Well, then you get the Brooke Baldwins. Adam Schiff says there's nothing there. Well, Adam Schiff wasn't even in the damn meeting, Brooke Baldwin. And who do you think has more access to information? Lying Adam Schiff? Chuck the Schmuck Schumer? Or President Trump? Who do you think maybe has more access to information? And if it was a classified meeting, it's a good thing. It means no leakers. Maybe that's why the Democrats weren't invited to the meeting, because they knew damn well that if the Democrats were there, something would be leaked between 5 minutes. 5 minutes, no more. Actually, I think Adam Schiff would have probably taken a pee break to go report to CNN in between discussions. So if all that isn't bad enough for Barack Obama and all the people that worked for him for 8 years, today, the Congress made it official. They actually put forward House Resolution 907 of the 115th Congress, second session, and it's expressing the sense of Congress that the Attorney General of the United States should appoint a special counsel to investigate misconduct at the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation, including an investigation of abuse of the FISA warrant process, how and why the Hillary Clinton probe ended, and how and why the Donald Trump Russia probe began. And again, I posted a link to this as well. It's a PDF document. You could go read the whole thing. But in a nutshell, it says that whereas the DOJ and FBI cannot be expected to fully investigate themselves regarding this matter, now therefore be it resolved that it is the sense of Congress that, and then it says DOJ, FBI, and federal law enforcement agencies have a sacred duty to uphold our Constitution and to protect our country without any partisan or ideological inclination affecting their important work. I know I had a 2 here, but the 2 wasn't so much as important. The 2 covered that most people inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation, DOJ, and all federal law enforcement agencies are good people. They're doing good work, and they want justice to be done as well. It's the whereas, or how does it say it? Now, therefore, be it resolved. Well, the last 2 are the big ones. Be it resolved, be it misconduct regarding FISA abuse, how and why the Hillary Clinton probe ended, and how and why the Trump-Russia probe began should immediately be investigated by a special counsel who can act independently, and whereas the Attorney General of the United States should immediately appoint a special counsel to conduct a thorough and independent investigation of these grave concerns. But the media is talking about a failed North Korea summit that isn't really failed. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, do you have grave concerns? Because I don't really have grave concerns. I could be wrong, folks, but I have a hunch that the special counsel won't be necessary. Although the mainstream media is pushing the idea that nothing could have possibly come out in the meeting between the DOJ and the FBI with Republican House members on the topic of spying, because if there had been a there, Devin Nunes would certainly be saying something. Well, that's not going to cut it, because even though Mitch McConnell says that he wasn't surprised by anything he learned in the meeting, CNN automatically simply assumed, and it was conjecture that Trump was proven wrong, because they hadn't really heard anything, because no one inside that meeting that was privy to that classified information said a peep to CNN. So CNN is just creating their own little propaganda. In reality, there's no reason they should know anything in the first place. And the fact that they don't makes me feel good, to be honest. Ironic that there were no leaks to the media on the classified meeting spying on the presidential candidate, isn't it? I wonder, would the media have learned something if Adam Schiff had been in the room? Maybe there's a reason the Democrats weren't allowed in there. And the fact that some Republicans left that meeting claiming the matter could and should be dealt with by the Inspector General Horowitz tells me something's up. If this is the case, in my humble opinion, I believe John Huber has been racking up air miles for a reason, possibly traveling all over the country to meet with judges in different jurisdictions to see who's willing to prosecute these traitorous bastards. Remember, Huber is from Ohio, and the death penalty is legal there for crimes such as treason or sedition, I believe. I think the congressional group that put this resolution forward is simply not quite aware of the scope of what the silent executioner Jeff Sessions is doing behind the scenes. I could be wrong, but that's my hunch. And all this media exposure is simply to inform the left-wing snowflakes so that they don't take nervous breakdowns when their heroes are arrested for the multitude of treasonous and seditious acts that they've committed. But it's always good to have a backup plan. So if Sessions and Huber aren't preparing the gallows, as I suspect, well, the special counsel will eventually do it. So either way, these scumbags are almost certain to see their day in court. Or even better, a military tribunal at Guantanamo Bay. Get the popcorn, folks. Shit's about to get real. I'm done now. If you enjoyed this video, you may want to take a look at other videos you find on this page. Don't forget, if you like it, push the subscribe button under this video, and feel free to like and share with all your friends. Follow me on Twitter by following the link on this page. If you want to interact, feel free to post a comment, but please, no obscenities. Thanks for watching. Billy Joyce signing off and reminding you that I'm here to help you weather the storm.